Hello viewers, and welcome to my back seat. What are we doing today? I got seat belts. And look, they're regular good old seat belts. The only problem with them, they're rear belts. And I'm going to put them in place of the front ones because this buckle, which was missing in June, it's now February and we got the car, has decided to fall apart. And if I can get the electrical tape off, I'll show you what happened to it. I had to put it back together for a few days to get by. Come on now. If you watch, it'll all go to hell here in a minute. See? The whole damn thing just came apart. It got closed in the door when I went to replace it. I suppose that was my bad. But this is all just glued together, and this is what holds the seatbelt on. So if that's broken, there's a little piece of metal that goes in here that actually holds the belt in, and that little plastic release button is what holds that in. So with that gone, the seatbelt won't connect. Here's the little plastic. It's part of it. It's all broken. So I figured out taking the rear seatbelt out of my parts car in the back, which is a two-door hatchback. The problem is these seatbelts mount something like that, a little bit upside down and on their side, and they have a little thing, you can hear it in there. There's a little ball down inside of here, and if that is moved, so if the seatbelt's sitting, upright like it would be here, the seatbelt won't come out. But I figured out by removing that little piece, the seatbelt will now come free at any angle. Now, I know this may sound bad, and these seatbelts, the shoulder belts will do that, but the lap belts, I've tried it, they won't. So it really doesn't matter. But if you get into an accident, it will still lock up. The way I had to remove this, in the back of the other car, I'm not going to show you how to do it, but you take this clip off here, and then you got to take the lower part of the seat off, which I'm sure you know there's a clip here and on the other side, and it pops up and comes out, and there's a bolt down here and a bolt there, and then back inside the plastic down in here, you take the seat belt or the speaker cover off, pop the panel off, and get all the good stuff in there. And the bolts are these, which I believe are T50, Torx 50. And this is what I got, one of these sockets, and it's a really good idea because these lower ones were really stuck in there. And that's what you need to remove them. And then to get them to work in the front, what you've got to do is, very carefully, this plastic panel here, let's see if I can sit you down. I don't know if you can see that from there. You have to pop this panel off. You've got to split it apart right here. You'll see a little clip. It has to come apart like that. And then there's these little clips here, which there's a piece in the middle that's supposed to push out. And then it comes off. And that little piece of plastic, if this is even the one, yeah, it is, for this side, goes in there. And if you can see, except it's a little bit too bright, way too bright, here we go. Ooh, hold on. There is, if you see this gear here, there's another gear like this that's metal inside. And if this piece here, this ball moves out of place down inside here, this will go against that so the seatbelt can wind back in. Let me pull it out a bit. The seatbelt will be able to wind back in, but it cannot come back out. So with that little piece of plastic removed, this will now turn at all angles. And if some of you are too worried about it, just go find yourself some front seat belts. I don't know, some people were saying something about the 3rd gen seat belts or a ZX2 belt or a Protege or 323, I don't know. But that's what I got, and that's how I'm going to do this, so I can get rid of that stupid thing. And I'm not going to go, if you look in here, the seat belt has a gap there. I'm not going to go with the whole Canadian thing. I'm just going to leave these here since they fit and they fill in the gap. This little thing right here is not going to bother me at all. I'll just cut a little slit out here for the seat belt to come through and cut a hole, where is it? About there, where the seat belt goes in to hold in. Oh wow, that's a little bit higher than, that's a lot higher than on the coupes, but whatever. The pillar's a lot closer to you. So I'm going to try to show you what to do here. It actually looks really dark. It's quite bright outside, and I'm on the dark side of the car. The light's shining in from that way. I think some ice just fell off the antenna. We had an ice storm. Something fell on me. Oh, the tree's coming down on me. We had an ice storm. And there's all kinds of ice all over everything. And then snow. So I'm getting dripped on getting back in here. And another thing this caused, when I was putting the seatbelt in, I missed a little bit with the wrench and put that crack in right there, and that's gone all the way across the windshield. So, first thing you want to do here, now that you're in your car, is take this, pop this plastic panel off. And it's usually, maybe if I move the visor out of the way, or break the visor, I sort of ripped it off. You want to watch it down there and on the end here, so you don't break it off, and then it comes out like that. And set that to the side. You'll need to do some fixing in that later, and remove the. Ooh, what happened? Oh, there we go. Readjust. Come on. To remove this, there is two 10mm bolts here and here. There's one there and here, and should be one down here at the very end of the track. And then to get this panel off, I believe you have to take this little rubber stripping off from both doors. Ooh, that just comes completely off. Huh. This is not my Acura, folks. Like that. And this panel should pop off also. Now you're supposed to kind of take these off, but I don't care, I'll just pop them back in. Get the door shut so it shuts up. And then you've got a screw here and a screw there, which I think are 8mm. These are Phillips screws, whatever. And a 10mm here, and a 10 there, and a 10 there, and there should be oh, I had a little bit of a problem, but it's alright. I figured it out. What? Somebody's driving by with a noisy car. Anyways, the two-door, the seatbelt mechanism here, where it bolts, it's got this one bolt up here, and then in the bottom of it has one of these big suckers like this. One right there in the bottom, like this. But for some reason, the sedans, the coupes also come apart here. The sedans don't. The sedans have one 10mm bolt here, and then two more 10mm bolts down here. So, there's nowhere to bolt this to. Come on, this part down here. Because the coupes have the piece that comes up right here to mount it inside this hole where it's supposed to be. So I'm assuming the sedan seat belts for Canada, or, you know, the newer wagons or whatever, must bolt to these three 10mm here. But the little lap belt here, which, as you can see, can be pulled out from any angle. See there, well, it locks up if you pull on it too hard, but that goes down in this hole here, like this, and it has two of them suckers in it, here and here. The rear one, back here, was what I was going to use to mount this lower piece of this part of the seat belt, like I did in the other car when I was test fitting everything. But I have to put the seat belt out here. Now that may cause some problems with some of you, but it's a seat belt mount. It's secure, it's solid, and with it, I've got it a little bit loose now so I could adjust it. With it straight up and down like that, the seat right here does come into contact when it's all the way back. But this car is driven with the seat I think 2 notches forward actually. But with this at a little bit of a rearward angle, like that, it works fine. And the seat belt all comes in and out without a problem. Now these up here, a lot of people may have some problems with these because they're untapped where these go. But it's nice and soft in there, and these bolts, I don't know if they're actually self-tapping, but they work their way in there just fine. What I did was take a spare bolt here, which I got out of the lower seatbelt mechanism out of the other car, and I used that as a dummy bolt because it does take out, ooh, you can't even see it. It takes out a couple of the threads right on the end. They get a little bit torn up from it, but not bad. So I don't know if these bolts are supposed to do that or if they just happen to be that good. But they're kind of sharp on the end, really, if you feel them. They might just be self-tapping. I don't know. So I'm going to put all these panels back together and drill the little hole up here in that one panel for the seatbelt to go through. And I'm going to cut, I was test fitting everything, so it's not completed yet. I got to take it all back out. I'm going to cut the holes in the carpet here and over here for this to go, so that this kind of fits back together and doesn't look quite so bad. So I'm going to get to that, and I will let you know how it goes. Shutting off the music to deal with it. As you can see, I did get the bolt in there without any problem. I don't know if you can see that shiny part's on them all, but it did take off. Even after I put one through, it took off about half of the end of one thread. So it's not the best thing in the world to do, but it's not too bad. But I got them in there without a problem. I didn't have to go have them tapped, so that's good. Well, I did it. It's in. Squeezed down a little bit on this panel, but I'm not too worried about it. The seatbelt's in there secure, and this panel's not going anywhere anyways. That not clipped in all the way? Whatever. It always rattled right here anyways. And I even, if the camera will adjust, sort of stuck this back in. It's supposed to screw into the seatbelt mechanism that goes back there, so I couldn't really get it in, but I shoved it in behind the carpet and behind this, so there isn't just a big hole there. And everything's mounted good and solid, and I think that'll do. And the best part, these buckles buckle right on in. Don't have to change anything. And if I get the seat back here a little ways in place with somebody in here, there isn't, I mean obviously that would be out further, but there isn't that much slack anyways. So even if the thing did fail to lock up, you don't have that much seatbelt to go before you lock up. You'd run out of seatbelt before you hit the dashboard or the steering wheel or what have you. So I'm pleased to say my rigging worked. And the best part is, it tells you how to fasten the child seat to the front. What I think I might do though, come on, since these seat belts are tan, I might take, or they're gray, I might take the tan ones out of the back here and switch these gray ones into the back. Nobody ever sits back here anyways, nobody's going to notice. Plus, I think the wagon ones have a little bit more room in the back here because they're mounted back a little bit further. But we'll see. This thing's gray in here too, this cargo cover. I happened to find one out of a gray one, and it won't come clean. It's sun bleached or baked or something. So I think I might take this out and put them up front and put these in the back. But the hard part's over. I got everything mounted, and it works now. So I am now rid of this stupid piece of crap. I hate those things. I've had them before. I cannot stand them. So hooray for normal seatbelts. And one of these days I'll find a 3rd gen wagon with a tan interior, if they even make such a beast. I know they did in the sedans, but apparently they have the adjustable seat belts and they won't fit. So I don't know. I was thinking about getting black ones out of a ZX2, but I would assume those would be adjustable too. Who knows? But she's in, and have to give them a test run here and see how well they work. But I think I've done it. More music. Deal with it. that was shut down in a hell of a hurry. These are mounted with two bolts that I looked at, I don't know, about a 14 there and there. So they don't even mount even remotely the same. So I won't be swapping the tan ones into the front, but that's okay. Oh. And I have, if anybody's wondering, premium, they call them, speakers. They are 5x8s, I think. The length is the same, as you can see, but the width is quite a bit different. They're out of a topaz. I'm getting attacked by ice. See, the mount is here, but the Escort's mount is over here. So they don't quite line up, but they get close enough, and they actually sound pretty decent. These speakers, I have the whole set of them they're out of a topaz. It was my friend's. One speaker went dead one day. It just quit working. And I actually have the other front speaker here. It would bolt right into the front. This is the front speaker. See? Premium speaker. But it's got the three mounts like the Escorts, and it's the same size. Believe it or not, that's actually the same size. It looks a hell of a lot bigger, but it fits. But it doesn't work. So, or not this. Well, this one works. The other one doesn't work. There's one dead one, and you can see these are the itty bitty stock speakers, which were very much blown in this car. If I can, there's the size difference. These are out of the parts car too, and they actually sound pretty decent. I'll plug this one back in. First take the screws that hold everything in off first. They're tricky to get in because you got to hook the one side in under here, and this panel is bent. It's cracked. When I was replacing the struts, I kind of broke it, so it doesn't quite fit right. But they sound pretty good. And then I've got that, which is actually a home stereo speaker, but it runs off the 4 ohms or whatever it is, so I just have it wired straight in. So there's a little bit of oomph behind it. You take that out, the magnet is the size of the speaker, and it's about that deep. So I don't know. At least the stereo works in here. That old piece of junk that I found at the junkyard. And then I've got some Polk speakers in there. I was so proud of those speakers. I had the mounts. I don't have one here. If you've ever seen the Escort speakers, they have this grill that goes over the top of them there, which fits all around here, and then it sits like that. And I had taken that off and screwed that Polk speaker into the back of it to use it as an adapter. So that fit around the stock speaker. Maybe now you can hear me. That fit around the speaker, and the little tweeter fit through here, and it looked like a stock speaker. But I had it mounted in the back of it, and when you'd roll the windows down it would get stuck, so I had to mount it to the front, and to do that I had to cut the grills out so it doesn't look as stock as I liked. But I did have those things in there temporarily. They don't actually go in this. That one's just stuck in there because it kind of fits. Those are out of a Mitsubishi Galant with like a premium stereo system or something. Those sound alright. They're not blown, but they're puny little crap speakers. They suck. So, now that we're completely off subject, headliner's coming off too. I don't know what caught it. Something went into it. I guess the roof rack was leaking where that piece got ripped off. which is now fixed, but I guess I must have broken that off. Either that or it just happens to... No, it was just falling off. I think that one is too. That one's the broken one. Yep. But seatbelt's in, so. Well, I did it, sort of. Had a problem with the passenger one, but no more automatic seatbelts. You can see they're sort of rigged, but this is where the car is driven with the seat in this position. So this is back far enough, and it is mounted good and solid. If I can get it to... See? It holds, and the seatbelt goes back in good. And these buckle right on in. It's awesome. I love it. Even my huge self, I'm 6'5", about 250, 300, I don't even know anymore. And remember, these are rear seat belts. They fit me just fine, even with a little bit of slack room. And this is nice and up high for me. It's not, well, I suppose it's about where it was, but the seatbelt doesn't come out. I'm sure you all know, seatbelt comes out here and then over, and it's just sort of sticking out here like this, and I hate that. But feels good, and you see, you're gonna run out of belt before you ever get anywhere near anything, especially if you're short. So I'm happy with it. And I took the belts out of here. The only problem is the back bolts on there. But I'm planning on getting a what you call it? Protege. I already found one. It's actually gray, believe it or not. Center console with an armrest that's about up to here. It's out of like a 96, 97 Protege, I don't know. But with the automatics, I didn't buy it when I was there before because the automatic seatbelts sit down here, and it has a cubby that goes down there, and it wouldn't fit. I tried it. It wouldn't fit over the Escort, the seatbelts. So I'm going to get that center console. So this is going to be gray from here back, but there'll be an armrest. I hate not having a center armrest in this car. It bugs the crap out of me. But we have functioning, normal seatbelts. Just don't tell the government. Just wanted to show you guys real quick why this would be so much easier on the two doors. They've got the mount there, and they actually have a mount there for the seatbelt to go into to hide it behind the panels. Now, I know the lower part, there's supposed to be a rod that goes in somewhere back in here and connects up in there, but I just connected it. Ooh. Sorry, it's icy outside and I just fell over and the car's on an angle. Now I'm on my knees. I just connected it there, which makes it stick forward. If you don't like that, you can connect it there. The back one, and hold on. Oh, I'm getting too old for this. So there you go. And I did thread that one with a bolt. You can see, well, I suppose you can't see on this one, the panel's still on. I'm not going to rip that off right now. But I threaded that with the bolt, like I said. But yeah, that's why I thought it would fit into the sedan, or the wagon actually. But, oh well, it did work, just with a little bit of compromise. So it would be easier on these. And as you can see, this car's getting ready to go bye-bye. It's missing most of it, actually, and it's up at a funny angle to get the motor out, so it's all sideways. So, there you go.